Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will talk about Maven commands. To understand the Maven commands, let's understand what is life cycle, what are the phases, what are goals in Maven. So, life cycle is basically it is the sequence of phases which get executed. Okay, so there are different life cycles like default, clean, site, right? So, life cycle is basically sequence of steps or sequence of phases. Phases means it is the step, right, which is in the life cycle. And goal is the command which you are executing. Whenever you are executing any Maven command, which is also known as goal, it is further calling some plugins. So in the background, some plugin is basically getting executed. So let us see our documentation. Maven commands. So in Apache Maven, whenever you run a Maven command, so you are actually running a goal that belongs to a plugin. So those goals are executed during lifecycle phases. So let us understand lifecycle. Lifecycle is sequence of phases. Phase is a step in the lifecycle, and goal is the action which we perform in the form of commands. Right? So these are the 3 points, which is life cycle, phase, and goal. Right? Now, let us talk about more uh, about the life cycle. So, life cycle, if it is default, in the default, we are having this build, test, package, and deploy. In clean, we are cleaning up, means we are deleting the target directory. Site, it is used for the documentation, and all these things we will see practically also. Right. So, now next is that if we talk about default life cycle phases. So in the default life cycle phases, first it validates, then compile, then test, then package, verify, install, and deploy. Okay. So let us understand these phases one by one. So there is one more thing that running a later phase automatically runs all the earlier phases. For example, if you are running package command, so it will automatically calls the previous phases. Okay, it will execute, validate, compile, test, etc. Right. So let us do one thing. There is one more, phase which is not having any command. That is called the resources. So resources is basically there is a folder in Maven which is called resources, where you keep the project related, application related resources like their settings files or configuration files or other things which are relevant to your application. Okay. So now let us understand these phases one by one. First is the validate phase. So validate phase, it checks the project structure. It validates form.xml file. If there is any error, so it will basically fails over there. It will not allow you to run the compile command. So used in the CI to fail fast, right? So now what I will do, I have this I have this code which we were using earlier, right? So hello world. So I will take this application only and I'm into that folder at this moment. So what I will do, I will run the, if I say ls, so you can see we are having a source directory and form.xml file. Now if I say mvn and validate, so what it will do, it will validate my form.xml and project structure. Everything is fine. Okay, as of now, everything is fine. Now, next is the mvn compile command. So compile command is basically compiles your code. And in the background, it is using a plugin. So plugin you can see in the pom.xml. If you come over here, which is the plugin. So under that plugin, you can see that there is a plugin for compiler, Maven compiler plugin. Okay. So what it will do? It will compile your code. Whenever the Java code get compiled, there is bytecode get created in the form of class. So it will create a target directory. So far you can see there is no target directory. So it will create a target directory. And in that target directory, it will have the bytecode or classes directory. So let us see. So when I run ambient compile, so as I mentioned, there is a resources folder. It's not mandatory. So if it is there, then uh, this particular phase also get executed, but it is skipping non-existing resource directory under this particular path. So that is skipped. Now compiler compiling one source code file and it has created under target classes directory. So if I say ls and target, so you can see there is a classes directory get created. Now let us see what is under this classes directory. So there will be a com, there is a uh, your names, your package name. So here you can see app.class, right? So this is the compiled code. Now next is the MVN test. So this is basically used for the unit testing. So in our source code, we have added a uh, test folder also. And in our pom.xml, we are using one dependency, which is the JUnit. So when you use this Maven dependency, so internally, basically what happened, the jar files are referred, which are related to JUnit. You need not to download this. You just need to add this code, which we have discussed in the previous lecture that what is Maven repository, right? So we have just added this code. Now, this command will be executed and it will execute the code which is here. Okay. So here you can see if something is annotated with add test, so that function is a candidate for that unit testing. Okay. So, so here the result is true. So it means it returns true all the time. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this command ambient test. So it will execute previous step also, but compile already executed. So nothing to do. And resource already there. And now test is executed. So it is saying there is one test, right? Which one? Com dot under this particular class. And that is executed successfully. Okay. This is executed successfully. So now if I go to here, so you can see the package name is com.kmit courses and class name is app test, right? Next is that, for example, I will write one more test. Same way, I have just copy pasted this. Removed this true and make it false. Okay, and I'm returning false. No, before executing this field text, because I'm returning false, so false will return the test cases field. Right? I want to show you one more directory. Under target directory, when we executed test command, there is one directory get created which is the surefire reports. And in pom.xml, there is a plugin for this, which is the surefire plugin. Okay, so this plugin basically helped to create that folder. What is in that folder? So in that folder, you will find two files which are related to our test. First file is this text file, which is returning whatever you have seen on the output. So one test run, zero failure, zero skipped, etc. Okay, and another is the XML file. Okay, so this is basically a complete detail that this test case was executed, should answer with true. This is the class name, right? And it took this much time. So these are the results which is stored in the form of text file and the XML file, right? Now, next is that now I have one test case which is failed. So let me save this file. Now I will go here and I will run that mvn. If I run mvn clean command, so it will delete the target directory. If I say mvn clean, so it will delete the target directory. Now you can see there is no target directory, right? Now, if I run mvn, if I want to run two commands like clean lifecycle plus I want to do the test phase. So what it will do? It first deletes the target directory if it exists. If it does not exist, it ignores and then run the test command. But before test, compile will be executed. Before, right, before compile that resources will be executed. Okay. So now I'm running this mvn clean test command. So this is my Maven code. Now it will compile the code. Compilation is done. And now you can see there is an error. So it is giving you the clear cut that there are two run and one is failed. And we deliberately given that error. And here it is telling you which particular function in the app test.java is throwing the error. Right? So it means next step will not be executed if the previous step is failed. So that is the test command with the failure. So what we will do, we will remove this code. Okay, let me just remove this code because otherwise it will be giving the error all the time. So now I can run the command again, which is the mvn clean test. Right now everything is fine. Right, one run and zero failure, zero error. Now next command is mvn package command. So if I say mvn and if I say mvn and clean package, so package will create the jar var file, whatever we have mentioned. So if you see here, if I go to my pom.xml file, right? So I have not mentioned anything like packaging. So if you don't mention, the plugin is here, which is the jar plugin. So it will create the jar file, right? Jar plugin, Maven jar plugin. But if you want to mention, no, it is a var file or explicitly you want to mention somewhere, then what you can do, you can specify the packaging. So I can mention it here. I will say packaging and I'll say jar. Okay. Now for jar, there is a separate plugin. For var, there is a separate plugin, right? So if I say jar, so if you don't mention in this example, it will create jar. But if you are creating var, then you need to mention it packaging and var, right? So now if I say mvn clean package, now what it is doing, okay, so there is some error in the packaging. Okay, so let me just see that. What is that error? Okay, so actually packaging is defined two times. Okay, so that is why. So here actually it is mentioned two times. So that's why it was giving the error. So what I will do, I will, because it is mentioned two times, right? You just check in your code. I think it is not mentioned. Uh, If it is not mentioned, fine. But if it is mentioned, then it is also okay. So I will remove these two, right? And let me go here. This will be fine. We can keep it here. So I will say packaging and jar. Okay, let me save this. Okay, yeah. So now we will run our command. So I will say MVN and clean package. So now everything is fine. Now my jar file is created. Let us see. So if I say MVN, if I say ls and target, so you can see that there is a jar file get created. Now to execute this jar file, I will say MVN and not MVN. This is jar file Java command we can run. So yes, this is the, so I will say Java hyphen cp and my jar file path com.kmit courses. This is my package name dot app. So you can see the result is hello world, right? So now with these commands, we are able to create our jar file, right? Let us go back to our documentation. So this is the package command. Now, if you have further testing, which is basically your quality test or integration testing, then you can run the MVN verify command. Okay, so let us run MVN and verify command. Right, so this is after package creation. So you can see, uh, means we don't have that code, which is the quality check or integration testings. So it is similar. So there is no extra thing you will find it here. Right, so everything as it is. Right, now next is MVN install command. See what happens that you can have a local repository which get created under your .m2 folder. Where is M2 folder? Under your home directory, under that repository. And then, so let me show you. If I go to C, my user folder is Raman. And under that, I will have M2 under that repository, right? And under that com and not com. Under that, we are having this my package name. So my package name is, just one second. It is KMIT code. Yeah, com.kmit courses. Yes. So it will be here only. When I run the, if I go to com, right? So here, if I search for KMIT, okay, it is not there. So what I will do, I will run the MVN install command. So what I will do, MVN and install command. So what it will do, it will execute all the previous phases and it will create a local repository. Okay, this repository is storing under .m2 folder. You can see com kmit. Now, if I go back and if I just refresh this directory, right? And now, if I say kmit courses, right, my project. So this is my local repository get created. This is my jar file, right? So this is install. Now there is one more command which is called ambient deploy. So this is, I'm storing it on my local repository, on my local system. But same thing if you want to put it on some artifactory, and that we will discuss once I configure JFrog for this, right? So we will push our jar file into the artifactory. Okay, but now, as of now, deploy command, it will fail because we have not configured anything. There is a settings file, setting.xml file. But if I run mvn deploy command, it will fail because we have not configured any remote server, right? So you can see it is basically get filled, and we need to configure that path uh, for our JFrog or Nexus or whatever artifactory you are using. Okay, that we will see when we configure that one. Okay, now there are a few more things. Um, so this is the deploy command, right? So ambient clean, it will clean your target directory. Now ambient site command. So ambient site command will create the documentation. Let us see. Now, if I come over here and if I run ambient site command, so now it will create the documentation of my project. See, then there will be a site directory get created after this once it get executed successfully, right? Now this get executed. Now, if you see here that there is a under target, there will be a site directory, and you can see there is a index.html file, right? So if I open this index.html file, let me open this. See DevOps, and under DevOps we are having Maven project, and under this Maven project, my project, under target we are having the site directory. And if I open this index.html, see it is giving me the complete uh, description, like what are the dependencies, Selenium and JUnit we have added, right? Plugin, it will show all the plugins. So this is a documentation of my project automatically get created, right? Now, so you can also run these goals directly, which is MVN compiler, MVN surefire test, right? So if you want to explicitly want to run it, you can run it. Okay. So um, say an example, if I run MVN package, or I can run this also, um, which is that default package, right? So we can run either of this. For example, if I run this MVN surefire test, so if I go here and if I run this command, right? So this is same as ambient test, but here I'm explicitly saying that run the test command. Okay. So, here it is only executing the test only. It is not executing the previous phases. Okay. Let me show you. If I say ambient clean command, so what it will do? It will delete the target directory, everything get deleted. Now, if I say ambient and uh, surefire test, now what will happen? It will try to do the testing, but there is no compiled code, right? Okay. So it is saying that building this project from pom.xml, surefire, no test to run. Okay. Build is success. Now, if I say mvn and let's run the jar, mvn jar colon jar. Okay. So if I run this command, so what it is doing? It is running the jar command only. And in the jar, warning, jar will be empty. No content was marked for inclusion. So it has executed only that command, right? So it is saying we don't have anything at this moment. If I say ls and ls target, right? So you can see only jar file get created, which is incomplete because it does not have the classes that folder. Compilation did not happen. Right? Now, if I run, see the size is 2064. Now, if I say mvn and clean package command, so now everything is getting executed step by step. Now, if I see ls and target, so you can see the size is different, 2740, right? And now this is a correct way. So, uh, so this is basically the means if you want to execute a particular thing, which is maybe independently if you want to run, so that you can do, then you can do with the help of this, with the help of directly executing with the plugins. Okay. Now, if you want to execute something, for example, when I execute creating my jar file, I don't want to do the unit testing. So then what you can do, MVN and package, and you can see -d skip test, okay, or jar with the skip test, right? So for example, I'm creating this clean package. -b is in the batch mode, means so -b is the batch mode skip test. So if I say -d skip test, right? So now it will create the package, run the all the phases, but it will skip the testing. See, tests are skipped. Okay. So other things get, because it was already there, let me run a command clean package. Okay. So in that case, I want to skip the unit testing. So that can be done in this. Now you can see that compilation is done, right? Resource directory does not exist now. Here you can see that the tests are skipped, right? If I say ls, now ls target, so you can see that there is no surefire report directory, okay, because that did not execute, right? Right. So you can also do the debugging of your package with -x. Debugging is nothing but, you know, if you want to see more details. So if I run this command, right, so you will get more detail what is happening. It is more verbose. So there is more detail, and if you want to see that what is happening in the background, so you can see all these log files, right? So here you can see explicitly they are saying debug classes directory get created this, then this, then this, then this. So this is how we are using the Maven goals. In next lecture, we will see what are the troubleshooting steps if you face any error. I hope you like this. See you in the next lecture.